Chapter 4, Carbon Footprint. Most people reading this book are seriously concerned about carbon footprint. The theory, in a nutshell, is that human-generated carbon-based emissions are creating a greenhouse effect that will warm the Earth to the point where it will no longer be able to sustain life, especially human life, and that at a particular point there will be nothing we can do to stop it. Damn. Well, I guess the good news is that when all the people are dead, there will be no more war, famine, or rude internet comments either. Of course, there are some people who do not subscribe to the carbon footprint theory. If you are one of those people, I think there are still some really awesome things in this book that will solve other problems and also keep more money in your wallet. And if that's not enough, if you get tired of people shaking their fists at you, you can always give them a copy of this book and tell them they can't criticize you until they've taken all the steps laid out in this book. That should get them off your back for a while. The carbon footprint concern was presented to the masses over 10 years ago by Al Gore in the movie An Inconvenient Truth. A year later, Derek Jensen responded with the book As the World Burns, 50 Simple Things You Can Do to Stay in Denial, and stated, An Inconvenient Truth helped raise consciousness about global warming. But did you notice that all of the solutions presented had to do with personal consumption? Changing light bulbs, inflating tires, driving half as much. Even if every person in the United States did everything the movie suggested, U.S. carbon emissions would fall by only 22%. Scientific consensus is that emissions must be reduced by at least 75% worldwide. Jensen later points out that our total global carbon footprint is growing by 2% each year. He suggests that, therefore, there is no point in even trying. We would only be postponing the inevitable. Jensen's book goes into solutions beyond being angry that are well outside my comfort zone, but damn, that is some first-class math. I wish to crawl into the math and take a good, hard look at that 22%. The average annual carbon emissions per adult in the United States is somewhere around 30 tons. What bugs me about current carbon footprint solutions is that they are generally weak or are connected to some product for sale. It seems like most of the solutions you hear about will bring your footprint down to 29.98 tons. If we use Jensen's math, if every person were to follow every solution presented in An Inconvenient Truth, we would only reduce our average footprint down to 23.4 tons, and we need to get it to 7.5 tons or less. For the record, the following are the concrete suggestions made by An Inconvenient Truth as viewed in 2018. All suggestions focusing directly on political action have been removed so that the list that is left is purely about what you can do personally. When I first saw the movie years ago, the thing that was buzzing through my head was that the solutions seemed very weak. I wish to complain endlessly about this list, but I will keep it brief in the interest of getting on with the book. 1. Waste money on energy-saving appliances. Al said, buy energy-efficient appliances and light bulbs. This sounds like a great opportunity for appliance companies to make gobs of money getting you to throw out your old but still functional appliances. Using a clothesline and washing your clothes with cold water will save you far more energy than upgrading all of your appliances. 2. Be colder in winter. Al said, change your thermostat to reduce energy for heating and cooling. It isn't clear if Al is suggesting buying a fancy thermostat, or if he is simply suggesting that if you give up some comfort, it will make a difference. On this point, Al is really onto something. But these implementations result in smaller energy savings than you might expect. You might think that this will save 10 to 15% on your total heating bill, but chances are it probably won't even be half of that. 3. Open your door to the shenanigans of wicked light bulb companies. Al said weatherize your house, increase insulation, and get an energy audit. The payback on insulation is always good, so again, a good focus on the big energy pig, heat. Unfortunately, an energy audit often just ends up making someone else more money by pushing light bulbs on you and doesn't result in real energy savings. 4. Recycle. This is very level 1. See Chapter 8 on moving way beyond recycling for how we can significantly reduce our waste. 5. If you can, buy a hybrid car. When you can, walk or ride a bicycle. Where you can, use light rail and mass transit. I like this one a lot. although I want to take it about 10 times further while not giving up the freedom that comes with having your own car. When choosing a vehicle, I think electric is a good choice. There is still so much room to optimize electric vehicles, but petroleum cars are about as optimized as they are going to get. And while buying a hybrid or fully electric car is a good step, it is interesting to note that if you have a huge truck but only drive it once a month, you will use less fuel than someone who drives a hybrid every day. So rather than focusing so much on what you are driving, I think it is better to focus on sharing a car, getting a job that doesn't require a car, or living in a place where you don't need or want a car. 6. Give your money to greenwashing. Al said, switch to renewable sources of energy. Not all sources of energy production are equal, but at the same time, renewable energy sources are not all that they are cracked up to be either. They are all flawed. We'll talk more about this in Chapter 23. In short, I think that while solar is better than coal, we would be much better off if we first reduced our energy consumption by 95% and then explored the best source for our reduced needs. Coincidentally, this approach can also save thousands of dollars. Sweet! 7. Plant trees. Lots of trees. This is a good one. Thanks, Al. I agree with Jensen's analysis. That list was far too weak. Even when I first saw the movie, I could think of some things that would make a much stronger impact. And today, I know of dozens of things that would have far more impact. In fact, we can not only reach the 7.5 tons that Jensen points out, but the solutions presented in this book can take us to 0 tons or negative 30 tons or even negative 150 tons, depending on how much effort one person wants to put into this. Yes, I believe that we can have a net positive effect on the planet, all in our backyards, and all without being angry at the bad guys. Some people like to point out that industry emits far more greenhouse gases than individuals, and thus we are totally off the hook from doing anything about the atrocities committed by those people. I think that the first step in changing our carbon footprint is to take ownership of our emissions and recognize that if our actions cause pollution elsewhere, those are our emissions too. Roads, public buildings, companies producing products for us, and a lot of other things are all our responsibility too. We will talk a lot more in this book about how to reduce various aspects of carbon footprint, but here are just a few to get started. For folks living in a cold climate, heat is 55 to 75% of home energy use. That would be approximately 10% of overall emissions. In Chapter 13, I will introduce techniques that make a big difference, including using a rocket mass heater, which you can build in a weekend for under $200 that will heat your home with the sticks that fall off the trees in your yard. To put that into perspective, switching from electric heat to a rocket mass heater can have the same effect on carbon emissions as parking 7 cars. Taking all of the many indirect emissions into account, as crazy as it might seem, growing our own food would reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by roughly 35%. On top of that, using techniques outlined in Chapter 17, it is actually possible to grow food in a way that sequesters carbon instead of emitting it, so the savings would likely be quite a bit more than 35%. That's right. This one solution alone would save more carbon than all of the solutions from an Inconvenient Truth combined. And we're just getting started.